Well, hello there and welcome to another edition of What's the Word here at the Racing Post in association with Ladbroke. Slight change up in the panel this week. Mikey Fogarty, Potential's dancing superstar of the future, he's back as well. And he's going to ride high in that Mick the Boyo tip in last week. So we're going to lots more of that, Mikey.
Thanks,
special guest this week, Brian Cooper. Great to have you, Brian. How are you?
Thank you very well, and you?
Yeah, good. And Brendan Duke as well. You moved into full forward there, so you played blinder last week, so you've been kept on. We'll start with you, Brian. Interesting season for you. How's it going? How's this sort of change in balance going for you?
Yeah, it's grand. Plenty of air miles, but getting around to different yards than it hadn't been before, and I suppose it's a new chapter, but we're tipping away grand. Is it almost difficult to plan? I mean, you've entries in Ireland, entries in England, and you're trying to ride out and get into yards. Yeah, it's hard to plan out your week. Like I could get a phone call on Tuesday to say you're Exeter or somewhere there Wednesday or Thursday, and I could be over there on a Friday and could be there for the whole weekend. But it's as I said, I'll go anywhere where I can ride good horses, and we're tipping away okay at the minute. Good stuff. And you've been on a couple of nice horses as well. Anything in particular standing out for you? Yeah, no, I was a horse called Aintree who was second in Cheltenham at New Year's Day. He just got outstayed. He'd probably step back to 2 mile, and I think he's a horse with a big future, and whatever he does this year will be a big bonus for next year, I think. Phineas Oscar, you're on as well over the course of the season. He's going to revert back to the Stayers hurdle. Were you involved in that decision? Yeah, well, I just came in after Ascot the last day, and he's only 5, well, turned 6 now, and I said, well, he hasn't got a lot of miles under his belt in what is an open division this year. We said we'd give it a go and see. So he runs in Cheltenham on Saturday in the Cleve hurdle, and I suppose if he's runs reasonable enough there, we can go for the Stairs hurdle. Go for the Stairs hurdle from there. Yeah. Good stuff. Well, we're going to ask Mikey to tell his favourite Brian Cooper story, but we're worried it wouldn't make the edit, so he's going to have to go easy on you.
Well, to be honest, Tom, I've a list of length of my arm, and I don't know how suitable it'd be. So, no.
And then he's still working on, Yeah,
I've done him enough harm now down through the years without giving a story about him now that I won't finish him off altogether.
Okie doke, fair enough. Well, just a reminder as well about the competition, the Commons competition. Actually got 2 prizes up for grabs this week. First of all, well done to Kieran Farrelly, who tipped up waiting patiently in the Commons section. It doesn't really say much that a 7-4 winner was the biggest prize winner in the Commons. Anyway, like I say, winners are winners. So well done to Kieran. Again, there's another Commons competition here, so it's a €100 free bet for the biggest prize winner in the Commons, and then we're also giving away tickets for the Dublin Racing Festival upcoming on the 3rd and 4th of February as well, so looking forward to that. Right, on to this weekend's action. It's a pretty busy weekend of action. We'll start off with Ascot. A tricky enough handicap hurdle to start off at 225. The Ascot Spring Garden Show Holloway handicap hurdle, Grade 3. Jenkins been hammered for that performance he gave at Kempton a little while ago. He tops the market here, Brendan. What do you make of him?
Just before I preview this race, I'd like to also pass on my congratulations to last week's winner, because we should remember, Tom, that predicting the future is very difficult.
Yes.
So just before, to get the excuses in early, because this is a mystery wrapped in a riddle, this, right? I mean, Jenkins, the £11, it was a very impressive performance, and the boy Bone takes 5 of that off, but will he repeat it in the blinkers? He's just not a horse I trust. Basically, the race is completely impossible. I ended up with Cross My Mind. He's a horse who should improve for the step up and trip, but he couldn't win a worse race than this in Sandown. So he'll have to, but he should stay. He's unexposed. Basically, the pin came down on him.
Arthur Moore sends one over, which is rare enough to send one across the order. He's got Cross My Mind. He's been shortened up a little bit. Would he be one that would cross your mind, if you pardon the expression? Yeah,
I think he was unlucky in Down Royal, wasn't he, earlier in the year? And I actually was in Ascot the last day he ran, and he just looked as if he probably appreciate a step up and trip. So he's one I've picked out for this race, and what is probably a winnable handicap for the prize money it's an offer. And I suppose there probably isn't any 2.5 mile races here in Ireland for him, so it's probably the reason he's gone over.
Yeah, and John O'Neill Jr. on board claiming 7, that won't do any harm either.
Yeah, he's only got 9.12 on his back, so
you're flying around through that. Mikey, you fancy anything in this?
Yeah, I'm going to stick with Jenkins. I know he got £11, but I think James Bone is worth about £10 over there. Yeah. So I remember him winning or second in the Land Rover, and he's a classy horse, so I'm going to stick with him. Win
good stuff. Let's move on to the Clarence House Chase upcoming at 3:35. Look, Anderso, odds-on favourite for this. Is it a good bit of sport for Brain Power? I mean, maybe you most familiar with Brain Power and sort of riding against him in that, but could you see him turn over Anderso here?
I couldn't figure out how or why. Like, he was well beat the last day in Sandown. they've gone for Nico de Boinville on him this time, and it's you know, a bit of a crazy decision. I don't think David did anything wrong the last day, and he looked well beat when he unseated him at the last.
It seemed just a tired fall, didn't it?
Yeah, well, like they were saying, he works very well at home, and he's one of the best workhorses in Henderson's yard, but he hasn't really relived to show that on the track, bar his win last year in the big handicap in Sandown. So I find it very hard to go through doing this.
Yeah. And you hate workhorses, like
well, there's more better workhorses than there's good horses in the track. You know, you go into every yard in the country, and there's just the best workhorse we have. How many of them are Grade 1 winners? So
fair enough. Well, Andis is a multiple Grade 1 winner. Incidentally, we were down in Willie's last week. He was working really well, but he's a star. Can you see him being turned over here?
No chance. I can't understand brain power. Barry bet Boulevard Air and a bit of work over 2 miles during the week, which I doubt had happened. I don't know where the money's come from, and. No, he's a winner.
He's a winner.
Yeah.
Is he a winner?
Yes, he absolutely. Great insight from Brian there. I thought, because the story does check out about brain power, because when he wins races, he wins with his head in his chest. When he loses them with his head in the air. He does not like it up in this horse. And in fact, I thought there might be a play for maybe forecaster betting without players. The UDS looks gone by to me. But the Colmore Lock should enjoy the tempo of this race.
Yeah.
He travelled really well, maybe a fraction keen in the handicap, the Bet Victor handicap in Cheltenham, and then he put his foot in the water, been jumping exceptionally well. I think he'll travel in behind here. Hopefully Brain Power will curl up as per when the UDS puts him under the pressure, and could run on for second.
When you're running against a horse like Andis, who just pours it on like that early, how awful is it in behind? Like,
it's not nice if you're not travelling, because you probably will end up on the floor if you try to follow him. But he doesn't go as quick as he used to now.
Yeah.
I thought Ruby gave an exceptional ride in the Ryanair. He literally anchored him for those 4 furlongs, and as soon as we turned in the first time, he let him roll on. Then look, he's a fantastic horse, and I think we had to burst David's bubble after Brain Power and Kempton. It's just that he went around his head and his chest, but he didn't beat a whole lot.
Yeah.
And I think he looks more impressive when he wins than he does than what's actually left.
Yeah, fair, a very fair point. Right, let's move on to Haydock. It's Peter Marsh Chase Day at Haydock. Before that, though, we'll go into the Champion Hurdle Trial, one that the new one farms. You are not a massive fan of the new one. You don't think he potentially acts at this track?
Well, I'm a massive fan of the new one. He's an absolute warrior of the turf. But this turf, I don't think he fancies it at all. It seems strange to say, because he wins the race all the time. But he just about scrambles home against ordinary horses like Raven Black. Scrambled home again last year against Klein. Klein does like Haydock, in fairness. But this Chitabello was getting £6 off him in Cheltenham, and I think that possibly the new one's favourite course is that 2 mile one trip on the new course at Cheltenham. He hates the old course, but he loves the new course. And I thought Chitabello would have beaten if he hadn't got massacred in that rush to the rail just before the last. I thought Chitabello would have finished second. Same conditions here tomorrow. Chitabello has won in Haydock on heavy ground, and he's twice the price of him. I would have very little between them. If I was pricing this up, I'd maybe marginally favour the new one. That price, 7 to 4, looks all wrong to me.
Okay, fair enough. Brian, the new one here, do you think this is a winnable opportunity for him?
I just think form, you can't beat rock solid form, and he's probably the best form horse in the race. It's it's not a fantastic race, but he gets his one good win every year, and I think this will be it again. I think Chitabello he's not a champion hurdle horse. He's probably a high class handicapper at that, and his form was probably flanked in the race in Cheltenham the last time. He got close enough, but I can't see him reversing the places with the new one. The new one's a consistent contender in those champion hurdle races. Yeah,
and they'll probably have to name this race after him if he wins it on Saturday as well. Mikey, your thoughts?
I agree with Brian, yeah. The new one knows where the winning post is, and I know he scrambled home in this a couple of times, but no, he knows how to win these races, and I go with him.
Good stuff. Right, on to the Peter Marsh Chase then at 3:15. The top 2 in the market, I mean, this is going to be testing going at Haydock for this, isn't it? But 3 miles and 1 ahead, and the top 2 in the market are not exactly proven on soft going, Bernard, are they?
Very true. Neither was the horse I'm going to put up. I was amazed to see that Knock Rawley hasn't run in Haydock. He ran once in Haydock when he was outclassed in a Grade 2 novice hurdle. He wouldn't be up to that, and he is a chaser. But everything else about him, going around Newcastle and deep ground, etc., suggests he'll relish these conditions. And about 12 to 1, I think he could improve for Haydock. I just think he'd relish the conditions. 12 to 1 looks fair each way play. Yeah,
fair enough. Anything jumping off the page in this
I think for a Grade 2, it's there's not a real standout horse in it. I might go Philip Hobbs' horse,
Garda Victor.
You know, he's consistent. I just think, you know, whatever stays, and no, it's Rock
Oh, Rock the Casbah, sorry, Rock the Casbah,
yeah. Sorry, I think it's just, you know, it's going to be a pure stayers race, and those horses are very fit and they keep going the longest.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Mikey, anything jumping off page?
I just kept it with the Haney, and he won over course and distance. He's gone through heavy ground, and it's an open race, and for a grade 2 it's poor, so I stuck with him. Anything
on the Navan on Saturday as well, lads? Anything jumping off the card that you there?
I saw Liz Doyle's horse win the last day. She's a very good trainer, and that Grand Seste, I like him in that novice hurdle. I just think he might have a squeak.
Yeah, it's the first JP horse she's ever had, isn't it?
Yeah, and she placed her horse brilliantly. You know, I was lucky enough to ride a lot of good bumper horses for her, and I don't think she'll be bringing him up there now just to make up the numbers.
Yeah, Brian, anything in Navan for you?
Not really in Navan. I think it's interesting. Willie is 4 in the beginner's chase, isn't he?
Yes,
like
yeah.
I've never seen that before. Usually he might run 2, but it just shows there's probably a lack of beginners chases, and he's starting to build up. So it'll be interesting to see what Paul rides in that, because I didn't see the next Friday.
Just follow that.
Yeah.
Anything else on Saturday for you, Brendan?
Just one, the 3 o'clock in Ascot, Tenor Nivernais. You may remember him from his romp in February last year around Ascot. Returns to Ascot, goes well fresh, loves the track. He's a big price if he gets into the same rhythm he got into last year, but that was one of the most devastating performances of the whole season. Now, there's no guarantee you'd be able to do that, but he's 12 to 1. You can take a chance at that price, couldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. 12 to 1, yeah. Love those value prices. But let's move on to Sunday. Huge day for Thurles course there. Kinloch Bray Chase. Brian, it's a race that you surely have great memories of. Won it twice, and Don Cossack. I don't know if there's a Don Cossack in it this year, but what do you make of it?
Yeah, no, it's probably a weaker kind of contest this year, but it's a great race for those type of horses who just lack grade 1 company. I know Don Cossack has won it before, but some of those grade 2 type of horses seem to get a chance in it. It looks a nice race for a toy fill, but I think Woodland Lopper's form is kind of rock solid that way. He's very consistent. He's been running over 2 miles, and the step up to 2.5 will be a big help for him. You know, Nambor was a very good novice last year, but it's his first run of the year, and mouses tend to take a run or two before they come to hand. And I suppose, look, American Tom had a good run in behind Ballark and Nace, but he's the type of horse who doesn't find a whole lot off the bridle, and I just think heavy ground over 2.5 around.
You need to find
Thurles,
a bit in
you need to find a bit in the end. So for me, Woodland Lopper, he deserves to get his head in front this year, and I think the step up to 2.5 will help him.
Good stuff. Anything in the Kinloch Bray for you, Mikey?
Yeah, if American Tom comes back to the horse that he was in Willie's a couple of years ago, I know he's had a couple of problems, but he was a very, you know, he had big expectations from back then, and Thurles isn't really a track that's, you know, you need to come off the bridle for that long. So if he comes back to his best, and I think he ran well on his first run in a while in Nace, so I'll give him a shout.
You're going to give American Tom? I know you're a bit of an American Tom fan, but.
Well, I mean, I was. Maybe I'm giving up too early, but I mean, I was so happy when I backed him the last day in Nace. He was jumping away, travelling, looked happy as Larry, looked to have the race under control, and then he just found absolutely nothing. So perhaps his problems have caught up with him. I'd have to give him a swerve, particularly when you're up against so solid crew like Atois Phil. Yeah. He just turns up every time and runs his race, and running his race would probably be good enough here.
Okie doke, that's fair enough. 5 runners, 3 selections there in the Kinloch Bray. Let's move on to the Coolmore National Huntstars EBF Mares Novices Chase, succinctly titled. But maybe Denario des Abeaux, Kate Appleby Shoes, Magic of Light, 3 decent fillies. Denario des Abeaux, a mare you're familiar with. Do you think it's a winnable opportunity for her, Brian?
Yeah, once the mistake she made the last day in Leopardstown doesn't kind of knock her confidence, because she made a bad mistake earlier on, and then she nearly got brought down by Henry's Monali.
Yeah.
So once that hasn't knocked her confidence, she should be good enough to beat these. I can't see the filly David Mullins, right? Miss Eye Catcher reversing the placings with her, and for me, Kate Appleby Shoes didn't jump well enough in Limerick, and she'd want to be improving an awful lot now to turn it over with Denario des Abeaux.
She's plenty of jumping experience as well. Obviously that mistake the last day, but she's 4th in the Drinmore.
Yeah, she's very consistent, and she's getting the weight again. So she's she's a worth sticking by, I think.
Absolutely, Mikey. You fancy?
Yeah, I like Roger McGrath's mare, Miss Eye Catcher. She's plenty of experience. She was second to a couple of good horses, and it counts for them mares novice chases, and so I'll be giving her at a bit of value. Yeah.
Anything in that mares for you, Brendan?
Well, they had Shattered Love in, and they've decided to run Denario des Abeaux because it looks a really good opportunity. It really does. Her jump, and it's a fair point that Brian makes, but she's back in calmer waters here. It should be easier for her. I thought she'd win.
Good stuff. Anything else on the Thurles card for you? We'll start with you, Mikey.
Yeah, I like the horse in the maiden hurdle. Sagalawi, he had a good flat form. He's by Hume's Aim. I followed him on the flat. Paul rides the other one. He had a couple of runs in England over hurdles and it wasn't good enough, so I like him in the maiden hurdle.
Brian?
Yeah, I actually like Jatez in the maiden hurdle in Thurles. I think he's got a consistent form in winter maiden hurdles. He ran well in Leopardstown when he was second the last day, and I think it's a winnable maiden for him.
Good stuff. Brendan, anything else on the Thurles card for you?
I'm afraid.
You're done. Put
Brendan, that's not good enough.
Well, yeah, not expecting pearls.
A man of your standards.
I only had 2 hours to look at the card this morning, so that wasn't enough.
Well,
what about the 6 hours last night you were looking at?
But you're 24-hour decks.
What do you do around here?
Should know those things.
When is this fiasco going to end? 48 hours.
We may bring 48 hours decks in for us.
It's just for us.
Yeah.
Just for us, yeah. Everyone else will have to wait. Right, we're going to get the guys' best bets of the weekend as well. Of course, Ladbrokes go best odds guaranteed on multiples between 11 and 1 in shops. Reminder as well about that Commons competition, €100 free bet up for grabs, and also, of course, there's tickets to the Dublin Racing Festival. So, guys, multiple for the weekend. We'll start with Mikey. Well, after Mick the Boy, we have to start with him. I mean, the pressure is most definitely on. And, well, go on, give us your best bets.
Undersaw, definitely. I think he's certainly Saglawi in Thurles and Grand Cest in Navan, my three.
Good stuff. Thanks, Mikey. Brian?
Crossed my mind in Ascot, Jatez in the maiden hurdle in Thurles, and I'm going with a real bogey one here, the 325 in Taunton, a horse called Dijon Conti for Harry Whittington. He's a half brother to Shantu Cotti, and I think Silviana Conti's in the page.
Did you come up with that yourself?
Oh, that is.
I actually sat him in Harry's there a while back, and I know he goes quite well. So.
Remind you the name of that horse again?
Dijon Conti. He's in the 325 in Taunton.
See, that's why we bring these guys on, for those nuggets.
Yeah,
he's the gold sifting right there.
Yeah, he's crossing the narrow sea for us, this young fella. You can't say better than that.
See, that's what these air miles are for. Right, Brendan.
Costly air miles.
Costly air miles.
I will do a Trixie, traditional Trixie. The linchpin of it will be the 240 in Haydock Chilbello.
Cool.
I will also stick in Undersow in the 335 because he's gone by. And to get the sweep in the 3 o'clock in Ascot, I'll put in Tenor Nivernais.
Oh, okay. Good stuff. Right, I'm going with Le Bagarois at Ascot in the 150, acting last in the 3 o'clock at Ascot as well. And then at Newcastle on Sunday, I'm going with Very First Time as well for Tim Easterby. So those are our bets for the weekend. Join us again next week for What's the Word.